Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today I'm a little bit of a tutorial for you, plus a reason why the product actually exists. Now, I'm referring to these. I launched these foam stamps last month. This was my really quick attempt at showing you what the designs were. They're called border builders. They were PM Artist Studio. You all know I designed for them. There are 4 different sets. There's volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. I've got them all here in a box. What I will do is I will link these in the description box below, but that's what we're using today. But I just wanted to show them to you because I think I did a really brief, I might have used one of them briefly. In fact, I think I used that one, the little, I call it the window one. They're going to be really hard to see until they start having paint on them. So I did a really brief introduction to them last month, and I thought, I wanted to tell you why they're created, what I envisaged them for, and how I plan to use them. So I thought, let's take you along with the journey. Now, before we say anything, a lot of what I'm going to be using is based on a gel plate. However, you don't need to have a gel plate to do this. These I like using with acrylic paints, which is why I created them designs. I also wanted them to be, how do I put it? I want them artsy. I wanted to create things that, say this one, if you can see that one, can you see the lines on it? Hopefully you can. I designed it with plenty of space so you could doodle around it, doodle through it. I'm on this journey of discovery at the moment with my art, and I wanted to be able to create borders for my art journal pages. I wanted to create arty type strips and trims. I wanted to be able to have a foundation of a design and then be able to go in and develop it with doodling. Not sure I'm going to be doodling today, however, but once you see the concept, you will go past that. Right, on with this. Now, first of all, as I said, I'm going to be using stuff that's generated by a gel plate, but you don't need to. This method, I'm using these with acrylic paints. You can use them equally as well with inks, and I'm going to show that. So this is a pretty unremarkable background. What was that? That might have been inks. I think I sprayed inks. I was testing some alcohol inks that I bought for a product review, and this was one of the pulls. I think that video will come out in the future at some point. And I've got some archival ink. If the sun shines through, guys, really apologetic. It's autumn here. The sun should be moving across. However, I don't have time to film later in the day. So if I just want something that is, say, an interesting background, this is pretty unremarkable. So if I just pull out this stamp, say, it's the 2 little circles. Now, as I said, I'm building a background. So I can just come in, put stuff into here, and all of a sudden, this becomes a different sort of background. So as you can see, I'm just literally using archival inks with it. I could be using any ink you wish on these. What I would say is I always will stamp off my stamps when I finish with them, just something like that. If it was a water-based stamp, I might run it in a tap just to clean it off, purely because I don't want the future stamping to reenact any, what am I trying to say? Reinvigorate. Rejuvenate, that's a word, any ink that's already on here. But this is archival, so as you can see, that is now a more interesting background. So I could put something onto that background. I could come in with my Posca pens and markers. I could take this to another level just by doodling on it. So see, just regular. I'm not worried that what I'm about to show you is the only way use for it. Likewise, say you've got, say, craft paper. So I've got a 6x6 here. If I had an 8x8, or I had a digital that had been printed, or I had craft papers or anything like that. So if I pull one of these out, let me have a little look and see which one is kind of okay. Yes, let's pull this one. Okay, this is interesting. It's not remarkable. Would I use it? Would I use this one better? Actually, this is even less remarkable. So what I could do is I could take this and I could actually come in with one of the stamps. So let's see, Let's do a square because we just did rounds. Okay, so I'll talk about measurements in a moment. So if I just press this down and I come across the edge of this piece of paper, oops, jumped out of my fingers. Now, if I take a pair of scissors, I mean, I do have a guillotine down below, but I'm not going to deal with that just yet. If I now cut this, now what I've created quite quickly is a piece of Arty trim. This is what I mean by border builders. I could have varied all the different stamps in there, but I could take this unremarkable piece and I could do a strip in, say, 2 or 3 of the different designs in here. And then what I've got is I've got something I could put on the edge of a journal page. I could use it in my planner if I wanted. I could actually put it onto an art piece and then maybe smear paint on it or something. So this is what I'm saying. This is the way that border builders, in my mind, they were originally meant to be used. So this is what I'm saying I would use them for when I'm using them on paper stock. Just as an example, let's take, I will need that. This is a page in my art journal that I'm currently working on, okay? It's fine. I wanted side borders on it, so I wanted some sort of drama. So I'm going to pull in something to keep things clean. Now, I find it easier if I can see the edge I'm lining it up against. Now, because there's so much paint in this book, I'm going to put a book weight on here. This is just a book weight. I picked it up on probably eBay years ago. I saw Gail Augustinelli was gifted one and I went, oh, I want one of those. So guess what? I got one of those. Now, I'm going to look at this and see what will kind of work. Now, I've kind of got squares in here, so I may well pull the square out. Actually, I might do a version of the square and the lines. Now, because this is acrylic paint on here, if I was to put archival on it, it would take a long time to dry and potentially would print off or smear. So I don't want to do that. So this is where I'm going to use my gel plate, my little 5x7. You're used to seeing this, and I've got Mars Black here because I want Mars Black on here because I want the drama that it's going to offer me. Let's pull a couple of sheets of paper in to actually brayer off on. So my intent is now, if you don't have one of these 5x7s, you can easily put paint on to, say, something like this, actually, a ceramic tile, and you could use a card, say a gift card, and smear it thin and then do the same thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to give it a couple of taps. Now remember, I'm looking for an arty border. I'm not necessarily looking for perfect anything. So as you can see, I'm quite quickly coming across here. And this would just be the foundation for me to actually then do other things or doodle with. Yeah, this art page, I'm really enjoying building it, but I just don't seem to have time lately to get back into it. So I'm sort of losing the flow of where I was in it, which is slightly annoying because I'm enjoying the process. So I'm not going to speed up the camera, guys, because you've got that option anyway if you want to fast forward, or just on some devices, if you double tap on the right hand side of your screen, it will jump ahead 30 seconds or 30 seconds, or is it 60 seconds? I think it's the amount of taps you do as to how far it'll go. So I'm just going to pull this around the other side, slip this under here, put the paperweight over there so that it's not moving around. I like to weight it down because if the page is bouncing like this, if I press down, I'm likely to smear it. So I'm going to start in this direction this time. As you can see, I've got this Mars Black paint. It's not an open paint, it's just a regular paint, but it stays wet long enough for me to actually work with. I have a feeling we're going off on a slight angle over here. It's probably because I normally work left to right, but because I wanted that the same as that, I'm going in the opposite direction. But we'll have some fun in a moment. Not that you're not having fun now, but I just wanted to show you what I would normally have used this for. So because there's 12 of these in total, there's 4 sets of 4. Someone out there, I'm sure, will be able to do the math that I can't. I'm very mathematically challenged. I'm sure there is a mathematical number as to how many versions of borders you can do with 12 variants. And I'm sure there's probably an app for it as well, and I just don't even know where the app is. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp these off on that bit of kitchen towel. And when I'm using any foam stamps with acrylic paints, I get a damp cloth. Now this is just a stained cloth that I use just for my art supplies, and I leave my stamps facing down on the actual surface. And what that does, it will keep the paint moist, because I may not want to go immediately and actually wash my stamps. You could have a bowl of water and just drop them in. Basically, if they dry with the paint on, it's not going to be that much of a problem, but over time, let's see if I can find one. Okay, I don't know whether you can see this, but over time, if I built more and more paint on there, the gap between the dots may actually fill up. So let's take that out of the way and that out of the way. So as you can see now, I don't know where the front of my book is. As you can see now, I've now created myself a nice border. Just an arty border down the side of my pages. That's kind of where I was going with this, guys. Now, let me show you what I was really excited to do, and it was a way of utilizing something I already had. Now, because I'm going to be talking for a bit, I do need to brayer this paint off my... Let's get another bit. I do need to brayer this off my brayer and clean up my plate slightly. So let's put that over there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you for a second, do the cleanup and come straight back. So, as I just showed you, so this is how I put a border on. Now, I could have gone all the way around. I could have just done sections. I could have used these within the design itself. You get the idea. Now, what I was quite excited about, and this is the reason I kind of did them in the first place. So let's talk about a few things about these designs. Let's take the square one, because the square one's perfect. Now, I designed them so that the image or the thing that would be designed would fit within a 1-inch square. Now, because manufacturing doesn't produce them all the way to the very edge, you're going to find that it's actually 1 1/16 in dimensions. Some of them are slightly larger, but the design itself was based on a 1-inch. So this would be 2.5 centimeters, but it's almost 28 millimeters for the square. Now, the reason I mention that is because of what I'm about to do. Knowing that all of these are of the same dimension, it means that I can change up anything and still be within the same framework. So, anyone who does gel plate printing or gel press printing is familiar with these. These are my brayer offs. These are the ones that I pick up paint with. These, if you're not someone who does gel plate printing, this is where your digitals will come into play. This is where your boring scrapbook papers that you don't get around to using are. This just basically could just be colored paper. So I've got this pile of stuff that I've got building up, and we make them all the time. Now, I do use them for my collage as well, but I wanted to pull a couple out of them. I'm not going to do an entire flip through, but I do want to pull that one instead of that one. Actually, we may be going through all of these just because I want to see which ones I'm going to pull forward. Maybe that one, actually that one instead of that one. So as you can see, these just sit in a drawer. Yeah, maybe I can use that one. What other colours have I got in here? That's quite a pretty one. Oh, that's another nice one as well. Right, I'm not going to go through them all, guys, because I have no idea how much is in this pile. But you know what these are. I mean, I do use them for several things. I will actually use these as backing for other things like stamping as well. So I've got these here. Now, what I wanted to do is I'm going to take my guillotine, because I'm a guillotine guy. Now, I'm going to cut strips at 1.5 inches, because I know even the widest part of this is going to fit within a 1.5 inch strip. After I've done, and I'm making Arty trims, after I've done the piece, I can always trim it down further afterwards. But it's horrible if you start a design and then you find, oh, I've got nowhere to doodle, I've got nowhere to finish this off. So I'm literally going to come in, I'm not going to cut all of these up, I'm not going to dem every single variation, but what I am going to do is I'm going to show you some variations. So maybe I'll cut one strip off there. I like this side here, so let's do one off there. It says it's just a way of making something that you are making out of nothing, really, because a lot of people put these in their drawer, they never know what to do with them. And I was thinking, there's paint on there, I paid for that paint. Let's do this side. And I don't like to waste things. So also, once these are Arty trims, they could be used on ephemera, they could be used on journal covers, they could be used as part of your art journal projects, they could be used for anything you wish. I mean, I'm cutting them into 1.5 inch strips. You could use the stamps to actually create an entirely new background if that's what you wanted to do. Why do I use acrylic paints to stamp with instead of using inks? Purely because if I'm stamping acrylic paint onto acrylic paint, I'm probably going to get a better finish in that the two paints will want to dry as one. Secondly, and probably more importantly for me, I've got a heck of a lot more acrylic paint colours than I do ink colours, because I'm not one of those people who has a huge amount of ink pads. I have what I need, and that's as far as it goes as far as I'm concerned. Right, these can just go back into my stash. Now, I could have cut the strips shorter as well. Completely up to you guys how you want to do it. This is just what I've done. So I've got my 1.5 inch strips. Now, as I said, these are probably going to be too wide. I mean, they wouldn't be too wide. Say my art journal here, I mean, this is the next page I'm working on. I mean, I could easily attach that down there, but then again, I could tear the end and actually add them into the piece itself. So let's put that to one side over there. So I've got my strips ready to go. Now, what I have found is as you're stamping, sometimes they'll pick up. So I like to just take a little bit of washi tape, just your regular run-of-the-mill washi tape, and I like to just put it across the ends just to hold things in place. And I do that just because it causes me less harassment, let's put it that way. Right, now I can use black, I can use any colour I want, so I quite like the blue in this. So I think I'm going to pull out, I've got ultramarine here, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to add some borders across here. Now, the way I work is I usually focus on the bottom edge as my guideline as to where to line the design up. And then if I'm going to trim it in the future, I would be trimming off the upper edge. If you're someone who wants to doodle on either side of the design, try and keep your design central, because say, where is it? Say we did the circular one on here, and after it was printed, you want to come in and draw a scalloped edge around, you need to allow yourself a little bit of room to do that. So just thinking ahead ever so fractionally, or just go for it, which is exactly what I'm going to do today. Right, so braying out my ultramarine. Let's see, which one do I want to do? Let's do, okay, this one's got 5 stripes on it. So I'm going to come in, touch down my 5 stripes. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, touch it again, 90 degrees, touch it again, 90 degrees. Yeah, I think you're getting the game plan here, guys. So what I've done is I'm taking a bit of something that was scrap or waste from my gel plate printing process, and I'm actually turning it into a strip that is actually then going to be used for something else. Now, I've got this as it is. I can go in and I can doodle on that, or I could, where's a piece of paper? Ceri needs a bit of paper. I wonder whether that will fit under there. Yeah, that'll fit under there. Now, I could develop it further. Now, I could actually change the colour of my paint if I chose. Not going to, but I could. And I'm going to choose a smaller one. So this one is smaller than 1 inch. So, and all of these, by the way, will fit on an ATC. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to come in. I'm going to stamp into the gap. This left on the side. Straight would be a good idea, Griffiths. So as you can see, now you would take a little bit more time, I'm hoping, than I am, because I'm slamming through this, because obviously I'm going to just show you what I'm thinking. So therefore, I've actually created that. Let's just stamp off the excess and stamp it off onto my wet cloth. Now, once I've done this one, so let's lift this up. Obviously, you have to be aware that the paint is going to be wetter longer than the ink will be. That's a strip. I could come in and cut a zigzag into that to have an arty trim. So that's the first one done. Actually, well, let's get a bit of this on the go and clean that off. Right, let's get the next one on. We might stay with blue for the next one because I've got blue on the brayer. So I need something that will show up the blue though. I think that would show up the blue quite nicely. Actually thinking about it, do I want it blue or do I want to add a little? I might add a little bit of red to that actually. So basically blue and red make purple. So I'm going to add a little bit of purple to this. There's the red gone. I mean, I'm going to add a little bit of red to this to make a version of a purple. That's probably way too much red. But let's see what this brayer is out to be. Okay, I can live with that. That's fine. So let's pull in another one. I quite like this one. This is, well, I like all of them. What am I saying? I designed the things. I should like them all. So again, I'm going to put that in. Now, I can come across just with one stamp all the way across if I choose. Now, the reason I wanted to design these is I struggle with perfectionism. Now, I don't mind if they're not lined up that way for some reason. I quite like that. However, what I didn't like was I couldn't get all the triangles equally spaced with each other. So that was another reason I did this. So again, that was a really quick one. You could spend a day just there with all of your gel prints and just make decorative strips. So that's another one. Right, let's pull in one more. Then I'll change the colours up a bit. So I quite liked my purple mix. So I'm going to come in and actually I've got this one also reminds me of like nautical stuff, like the insignia you'd see on a captain's lapel. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to leave myself a space in between. I'm not measuring it. I'm trying to let go of the thinking of everything needs to be measured. And I'm hopefully doing it quite well. Now I've got that on there. Now I'm going to put this onto my damp. Now I'm going to come in. I think I'm going to add a little bit of black to this because purple's not going to do any harm with black. And brayer that through. So I've now got black on there. And let's see, what should we do in here? Let's use this one. I like this one. It's sort of a bit yin and yang. So I'm going to come in and pop that design in the middle. So I love the fact that I can just create so many different variations. And what's happening is they're all being sort of an arty finish, which means they can be whatever I want and I can enhance them further. So right, I need a new piece of tape on either end because those two are becoming a little wayward on me. Now, my favorite color to do this technique with is black. And the reason for that is because it's dramatic. I mean, I love a bit of drama, unless I'm causing it, and then I don't like a little bit of drama. Right, so I've got black on the go here. I'm going to use this one, which is very reminiscent of a Greek key design. So I'm going to come in. Now, as I said before, if I've got something straight, I will try and line it up with the bottom of my piece. I'm looking for something that's got that arty, home-drawn look, and that's exactly what I'm getting here. Now, I chose this one on purpose because I want to show you that most of these, except for the ones that are absolutely symmetrical, can be varied. So as you can see, again, I've done myself a bit of an arty trim. Let's pull in. I liked the idea of this one with this design. So Ceri was doing the Greek key again. Where have I lost the other bit to? I just took up, oh, there it is. So what I can do is, if you remember, just keep methodical about this. So I'll put one on there, give it a quarter turn. Put another one on there, give it a quarter turn. Put one on there, give it a quarter turn. See, I've just lost track. Yeah, that's right. Give it a quarter turn and keep up that rhythm of stamping, and you will obviously create yourself a variation on a theme. Now, I'm doing them as Arty trims. You could easily do them to create backgrounds, as we've already seen. You could stamp these directly down the side of a greetings card if you want. You could use them in many, many different ways. But imagine having a box full of these ready to go. So let's just do a couple more. I'll try and add some variety because I want to actually come in, and then Ceri might be brave and do a bit of doodling. We know that's not my strength. I'm working on it though. I've not given up, guys. I'm doodling. I'm just not sharing it with you. But then in the very beginning, I told you I wouldn't be sharing it with you until maybe the end of it. Right. As you can see, the black paint is still on the go, and it's not an open paint. It is literally just a regular out of the tube paint. I do like to use, however, I like to use the heavy body ones more than anything, because the craft glues, the craft paints more like this are too liquid, and I find they get a bit sloppy on me. So I'm hoping to try and get this one down the middle, or as close as I can. Well, obviously that went by the by. Now you could, if you're really picky about it, you could draw a line down the middle with a bit of pencil, and then after you've done this, you could actually just go in and erase it. That's not what I'm planning. Right, okay, I get one more in there. I can get one more in there. Okay, so that's one we'll work on with a bit of doodling in a minute. Right, let's do this one here, because I want to show you a variation of that one. Now, I haven't played with these as much as I'd like to have done, because life is just too busy. But it is going to be one of those things that I actually play with a lot in the future. So you'll see these coming up. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to kind of guesstimate a halfway mark, which is probably easier for me to do than lining them up, to be honest. So I've got those lined up there. Let's put this onto the wet. Where's that diamond one gone? So if I pick up the diamond one again now, I can come in. That's a bit tricky because I'm trying to work with the camera instead of against the camera. So excuse me if they're not perfectly lined up. If I wasn't trying to do this by looking through an iPad, I think I'd probably be a little bit happier than I am with the spacing and the geometry at the moment, but it's working. So as you can see, that's given me another version. And it's just playing, guys. That's all I'm doing. Right, we're going to come in with the last one, and I just want to see which ones I've not used so far. There are a few I've not used, so whether I'm going to be able to use all of them, I don't know. Right, let's put this one on the wet sponge. Right, this one, I love this one. This reminds me of the lights around a makeup mirror. I used to be a dancer, so that for me is that reference. So I'm going to do it squared once, and then I'm going to do it twisted. squared, twisted, squared, twisted. I'm running out of paint, squared. Not that I've got enough on the brayer. I don't really want to add more paint because I don't know that I'm going to be able to match that up. Oh, that's not bad. I'm surprised I matched that up. So let's put one on the end just to finish it off. So as you can see, we've used quite a lot of them, but I haven't used all of them because there's just so many variations, but wanted to share that with you. So right, let me just give the brayer a bit of a clean. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you again, guys, and I'm going to have a bit of a clean up. Then I'll get you back and then we'll look at maybe playing with some Posca pens on these because that's what I put them out for. Okay, so back in a second, guys. So here I'm back again, got Posca pens. I don't have a huge amount of Posca pens. I just have basically white, black, gold and silver, and I've got the white in the 2 smaller and 2 larger. So let's have a look at what we've got here. So as I said, I was planning on doing a little bit of doodling. So not a huge doodler, so bear with me. It's probably going to be fine. It's just, it always makes me a little bit anxious, but you know what? One must overcome that. So I've got, this is the 3 mil, or it's 1.3 millimeter. I think that's what that means. My pen is already loaded up. So what I would do here is I would probably just build up a design around the shape that's on here. And this is where you end up making these your own. So there's a circle there. Let's do a circle around a circle. Circles are my nemesis. I don't draw them well. But practice makes perfect, as everyone keeps telling me. So I keep going at it. So, okay, so I've just taken that to a different level. Now this one, I think this is the one that I think I wanted to cut, isn't it? So let's just see whether I can just do this really, really quickly for you guys. So if I come in with my Tim Holtz scissors, I do like the Tim Holtz scissors. I like the serrated blade that his scissors have. So I'm just coming along, snipping all the way down. Now, I'm not going to be showing you how I use these and stuff because that's down to your own creativity, guys. I've spoken at length in this video about things you can do. I've made suggestions. What I would like to see, though, is if you do end up getting border builders, either volume 1 or all of the volumes. If you do use them, please, when you do them on social media, can you tag me in? I would love to see what you guys do. I love creating stuff that other people can then make unique things from. So my Facebook is pretty much Facebook and YouTube are the only social media I do nowadays. That's it. I can't handle doing any more than that. Oh, my knee's a bit sharpening up. So if you tag Ceri Griffiths Creative Designs, that's my Facebook page, and you'll find me on there. Tag me. I would love to see what you do with them. And if you happen to use them in a video, even better, tag me in that. Let me know you've done it. And by all means, I will share that video with my subscribers as well, because I would love to help other people grow their channels as people helped me grow mine in the past. So as you can see, I've taken that. I've now got an interesting piece. Let's see if I can find a page that this would go on. Well, actually, just put it on that one. So I could take that now, attach this to this page, and I've created a really arty border or a trim. But what I've done is I've created it and then stuck it down afterwards. Now, you're going to say, what would I stick it down with? I would probably stick this down with matte medium. However, it depends on what the surface of your page is. It could be you could use a glue stick on this. This is just copier paper. That's all I use. The run-of-the-mill copier paper you get from your grocery store, your supermarket. That's what I use for my brayer offs a lot of the time. If I'm not using things like labels or stuff like that, or tissue paper. That's what I will use. Right, this one here I think is actually okay on its own. However, if I was to come in, is this black one loaded? The black one is loaded, right. So if I come in here, let's do this one. If I just put a dot on all of the downward pointing parts of the design. So that's given that. It looks a bit gesture-ish, doesn't it? And then let's say, I thought I had gold. Where's my gold go? Oh, there's my gold. I was expecting the lid to be gold. It's not, it's just that bit and it always throws me. Right, is my pen loaded? My pen is loaded. So I could then come in, because I wouldn't use, I haven't used gold paint. I could come in then and add to the design itself by just mirroring the triangles I've got here. Now, as I said, the reason I designed these the way I did is I wanted to give everyone space to do exactly what I'm doing here. I wanted people to be able to come in and put their own twist on it. These are just foundation pieces for you to build on. And that's what excited me about creating these in the first place. And I love creating tools for other people to use. Right, I think I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a gold dot on there. Now, I should imagine people like my friend Gail Augustinelli, my friend Darcy, Saunders. I mean, there are just so many people out there who doodle, who've been trying to encourage me to do it more, and I am doing it. We'll go, oh, that's what you're supposed to do with them. Because when you actually look at border builders, you're like, what is a border builder? And unless someone explains to you how they're meant to be used, then you don't know, do you? And that's my job. Right, okay, loving this. I left enough space within the diamonds to actually get a Posca pen into this. And this is the thicker Posca pen. This one is the PC 5mm. So I left enough space for you to get the Posca pen in there. I mean, I did think really long and hard when designing these guys. I wanted to find a way to give you tools to create whatever you want to create, but then also to be giving you an element of uniformity in your design. And the last one there. See, that's taken that to a completely different level. And it was just basic. That was half circles and diamonds. Actually, I wonder. Yes, let's get that bit of a sheet in again. Let's come in this way and just fill in the middles of these. Now, why was I, or how was I inspired about borders? I am a fan of Diane Reevely's art. Diane Reevely is a British artist. She works for Ranger. She has inspired me in a lot of the different techniques I use, and she uses stencils to create her borders. She's created the borders, made them into stencils, and then you stencil with them. I'm sure she's used stamps as well, but that was one of the inspirational things that I really did love Diane Reevely's look, and I thought, I love the way these come out, but I wanted variety. I didn't just want one set does one border. That's another one. Right, let's see if I got, so white one was loaded, wasn't it? When I say is a white one loaded, basically I'm just tapping the pen nib down to make sure that it actually produces for me. So I'm going to come in, just pop this in the middle. Now, word of warning, if you are going to use Posca pens in your art and then you're going to brush over the top matte medium or something, be really cautious. Posca pens will reactivate with liquid and they smear. So if I wanted to seal all of this in when I finished it, what you need to do is either use a spray fixative, or what I do is I just spray it out matte medium on my gel plate, and then I lay down my piece and lift it up, and then that's usually given me enough to actually have completed it. to seal it. So just be aware that's the only downside of Posca pens for me. There are permanent pens out there, but I don't have a huge amount of pens. I tend to focus mainly on creating with acrylic paints, and I find that fascinating. I am on a sort of watercolor journey as well. I'm trying to learn a version of watercolor that will give me the look I'm looking for. So I'm trying. I mean, I've got a little journal on the go that if I finish that journal this year, which I doubt, then I might share that one with you. I have been asked whether I share my journey on watercoloring. Probably not, guys, because it would cause me too much angst to try and do it. As I said, I'm not a watercolorist, so I would struggle to actually feel that I had the right to give instructions. Right, so we've got the key one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across and I'm going to continue each of those line designs. So where the last one was, I'm just going to extend it. I'm in shot, aren't I? Suddenly had a moment's panic going, oh my God, I'm not even in shot. So as you can see, you can just play around with the designs. So that's just that bit. I think I'm going to put a circle in the middle because I like my circles. Well, I like my dots. Anyone who knows my art knows that I'm a big fan of bubble wrap. Yeah, always a dot, love a dot. Right, so let's see if I can pull in. Let's pull in the thinner one. What's this one? This is the 0.3 again. Yes, it's loaded. I reckon I can, let's just ad lib this. For those of you who saw my very first attempt at doodling, you're probably going, he's got a bit more confidence with the pen. I have, guys. I've been practicing and I've been trying to take on board Darcy's words, which is, Ceri, just let go. And then several of you said, Ceri, the more you do, the more relaxed you become about it. I am. I'm doing it. I'm also got a bit of a Zentangle journal going on, just because I wanted to play with that as well. Is that enough? Yes, why not? That's enough. Right, so that's a cute one. This one I love as it is. I probably wouldn't do anything to that one. I would probably just use it. It's lovely. Yeah, I'm not going to play with that. I like that one anyway. This one, now we've got the square. So if I take the gold, I can probably just come in and put the one dot in the middle, which would just give it a bit of a shine. Actually, you know what? We could go onto my art journal page and see if there's anything I want to do on there. Right, so that would just add a little bit of bling to that. Let's pull back in my art journal and see if there's anything I would like to do with this. Right, can you see? You can kind of see. Right. I'd quite like to have had this sort of colour, the plum colour, but I don't. So let's just go with, how big is the big one? Oh, that's a gold. I don't want gold. How big is the big one in black? Right. The PC 5mm is about the right size. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these dashes into crosses. So just pure and simple, just playing around with the existing design. I like that. Oh, that one needs to be a little bit longer for my liking. So there you go. So that's changed that up a bit. Now I could come in further. Do I want to come in further? Yeah, let's come in further. Right, I'm going to put a dot at the end of each one of these. So as you can see, I'm turning the foundation design into something completely different. And you have my permission, guys. Go ahead, tweak my original drawings and just have fun with them. I'm giving you the tools to help with your confidence, which is what I was struggling with. Because if I had to paint all of these onto the side of my journal page, I probably wouldn't have done it. Well, in fact, I didn't do it, did I? I waited till I had the stamps in my hand. So just simple things, just tweaking stuff as we go. So hopefully that's introduced you to them. Remember, they can be used to make decorative strips out of boring paper. I used archival because I like using archival. You can take a boring background, you can turn it into something. Let's see if I can give you an example. So right, we've got a relatively boring background there. Let's take a bit bigger for once. I don't say that too often. Right. So there you go. I could put something on there and already that looks a lot more interesting. I could come in with a saying or a phrase or a word, just taking things and using clever little designs just to tickle them up and turn them into something else. Right, if I had, let's take that out of the way. Now, as you can see, let's pull in, right, this is, this is a bit shameful. These are the foundation pieces for my artist trading cards. Let's see if I can find one that's relatively plain. Okay, see, I could actually come in and because of the size of these, I could actually put a small border or an element down the side of this. I could actually come in once this was fully dried. I could tear that edge and put that down the edge there. So they fit on so many different things, and I absolutely love this. So hopefully you can have some, saying so many times, isn't that rude? I'm having so much fun with these, and I hope you will too. I will put the links to all of the border inspiration, what I'm talking about, all of the border builders below this, volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't need all of them. Just get one set and work from there. And if you enjoy them, you can add them individually. You can add the volumes later on if you find them useful. I like them to make decorative trims. I mean, I would now stick these in a box. I mean, you could do these on label paper, but to be honest with you, when I'm making decorative trims, what do? Even if it's on label paper, I put Pritt stick or glue stick on the back of it anyway. So hopefully that's piqued your interest. It's nice to at last have a chance to explain why I created them, the reasoning behind the size, how you can take them to another level, all about the doodling that I hope you will do to enhance them. I'm loving this one. I'm looking at this thinking that would look lovely down a postcard. Okay, that's one of my postcards. But as you can see, I can actually pull in elements and stick them onto other things. Basically, all they are is they're decorative trims made out of what some would consider as waste paper. It's collage fodder. Enjoy it, guys. It's been a pleasure sharing these with you. All the links are below. And if you go into PM Artist Studio and you do make a purchase, if the purchase is over $30, I think it's $30 still, if you put this in at checkout, it says add code or something, put this in, that 10 will give you 10% off your entire order. You know what, which is absolutely fabulous, and thank you very much PM Artist Studio for doing that so that my subscribers and followers actually have something to use. So thank you very much, guys. I am Ceri the Crafter, and if I can find my Ceri the Crafter sign, there you go. Ceri's losing the plot today. So I'm Ceri the Crafter, that's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.